I'm causing mayhem every motherfucking Mondays from now on, and I want y'all to bring it. No, you got your man out there doing bigger and better things. Okay? And I blame, Trey asked a good question. How did it get so bad? I blame y'all. Because y'all been sitting on the fucking sidelines, letting these women do this bullshit, not setting boundaries, not telling women no, fuck off. And that's why we do what you allow us to do. You are one I love to hate and hate to love, but at the end of the day, I love you, baby girl. Come on the battle, let's go, please. Let's go. You're going to be in market, but you might go back limping.
Hey, what's going on, Gracie?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on to all my embracers on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and embrace the pain. That's what we doing tonight. Awesome collabo. How you doing tonight, Mr. Payne?
I can't complain. I'm already warmed up from the previous show, so
I know that's right. I know that's right.
From your show here, So thanks for wanting to do the collab.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is an important topic that women need to learn, the why and what men go through when they get cheated on. It's always about the women.
Oh, yeah.
But, we always forget about our men. And two, I can relate to this topic because I went through with it. So I was happy to join you, talk about it so people can learn and maybe take some takeaways about this topic, because
okay,
it's a serious topic. So let's get started. Let's get into it. What you got for us?
Well, so the initial thoughts, again, like the theme of this one, the overall theme is the question is really, should men, forgive their wives for cheating on them? Okay. Now, the subset to that dynamic is the reverse, of course. So we're going to touch upon that too. But the primary focus is the way men look at their wife cheating on them is different than the way women look at their husbands cheating on them, or boyfriend, or whatever you want to call it. Me, I come from the man, husband and wife scenario. I know that if you're not married, you can still have significant relationships that it still matters when cheating happens, especially make those promises to each other. So my perspective, since I'm a married man, I don't want to, I have the bias of saying it's more serious when you're married. But that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true to a person who's unmarried with a person they trust, because trust is trust, right?
Absolutely.
So, so we'll try not to get those things crossed. But it's still, hurt is hurt, trust is trust. So we'll talk about that. So, so I saw this topic, and there's a lady. I have a couple of clips that I was going to play, and we don't have to get right to it. So. Just my opening thoughts, and I've said this on this show before, like most men I know who stand on their square are fairly unforgiving when it comes to their wife cheating on them. But not so much anymore these days. I've seen more and more men, on platforms with their cheating wife next to them, looking all sad like puppy dogs while the wife tells him why, she's happy he took her back, and he's sitting there looking like a wet noodle and shit. And You know,
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen it. I mean, more and more. Listen, it stands to reason where I think the general consensus to say is men today, and it's not has nothing to do with muscles and whether you can fight. That men today are more soft when it comes to relationships and how we deal with women and how much we're willing to take. Less testosterone and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking it stands to reason that more and more men will be forgiven if their wives are, busting it out for a real one. I mean, I know the white in the white community, the cockholeness is something that's almost common theme. They
Yep. Yep. But did you ever think about Mr. Payne is that damn, it's cheaper to keep her. Maybe that's why they're more besides the fact that they're more emotional now, because why? They're
right,
being raised by single mothers, so
right,
they're attracting the traits of a female. But could it also be, I've heard that a lot of men stick it out sometimes for the children, you know, and
right.
also for financial reasons. They don't want to give up half. So the old saying, it's just cheaper to keep her. Would you agree with me on that?
Actually, I was going to talk about that. So
Okay.
we're going to cover that why a man would stay and why would a woman stay. I think it's a little bit different between the two, but I think both are calculation.
Mm-hmm.
A man does a calculation one way, a woman does a calculation another way. I think,
Mm-hmm.
so just like you said to me, what you just said is true. Men do some kind of financial calculation. Who's in the private chat? Let me just look at that. Uh,
He's talking about the
oh,
link.
yeah, we'll be dropping it. Yes, we'll be dropping a link tonight. I would imagine. Just yeah, we'll find a good way to drop that link in there. Just after we get these preliminaries, maybe a video or two under the belt, let people come up. And so just what I was going to say. So Grace, you're right. Some men do that financial calculation. I think a woman does her own calculation as well. And let's just say, if we're talking about wealthy couples, and we're going to try to just leave that aside. We're talking about the common man, right? When I say the common man, the majority of folks. But
Mm-hmm.
the women have already made that deal with a wealthy man. If a woman comes from no money, when she marries a wealthy man, it's probably a fait accompli that if he steps out, she's pretty much not going anywhere. I mean, because
Yep.
part of the deal they made. But it's the rank and file person that might differ. So I think some women who are in the regular majority who might stay with a man, they stay based on a calculation of besides money and financial security, that man has something that she wants that she knows she can't find from anybody else. That's why she stayed with him. Or it'd be real difficult to find from somebody else, and that's the thing. That's why she's with him. And so that part of a man is not that easy to give up, whether he's rich or not. I think that's why women might stay and forgive the dude. Might not forgive him forever for continued cheating, but a one off or two off or something like that. I know some women who've done that. Uh, you know, I've
Okay.
I've been in that situation as I wasn't married though. Uh, where my girlfriend, she gave me shit for a little while, but then she moved on, and we still stayed together until she cheated on me, and then it was
I
over.
know, I know. I mean, just men are wired. Women need to understand that men are wired differently. You,
Yeah,
you, you know, the fact of the vision in their head of their wives or girlfriends being conquered and penetrated by another man, they can't handle it. They cannot handle it. And it's not like they're big babies, but men are men. Men are territorial. Men don't want to see the most intimate part of their wife given to another man. And a lot of men just can't get over this. And I don't, you know what, I don't blame them. We Men and women deal with things differently, and we can't chastise the men or point fingers or insult them because they're expected to act like us. We're
right,
different.
right,
I, i'm
right.
a lot of people already know my story, and one of the reasons why I got divorced is because of infidelity. But Mr. Payne, I forgave him the first time.
Okay,
If I was 20 years old, and we all say this, oh, if my man cheat on me, I'm never gonna. Nah, nah, nah. No, that's BS, Mr. Payne. Because the thing is, you don't know what you're gonna do until you're in that pot. You
I
know what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
So I had to internalize what to do. And the fact remains is that I stayed for three reasons. I forgave him because one, this was the first issue I ever had with him being together 10 years.
Okay.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Hmm.
Everybody is should be given a chance to rectify their mistakes. We're only humans.
I agree.
We're not perfect. Two, I was trying to still figure out if I still loved him. And the fact that I couldn't say yes or no left me on the fence.
Okay.
Three, my son. I did not want to break up our family unit. Family unit was very important to me. Is it worth? I mean, my son is an only child. I did not want him to be without his father. Okay. And the finances wasn't an issue to me because everything was mine. He signed a prenup. He would have walked away with nothing. So that wasn't an issue for me. But the issue for me was really the family dynamics. As everybody knows, I came from a two-parent household.
Hmm.
I'm not used to this. You know, I wasn't gonna. And then the fact of starting over. And
Right.
then with a son, bringing
Right.
in another man, I took that all into consideration.
Correct. So,
We tried. Go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to ask you a question on the point that you
No,
made.
go ahead. Go
Uh,
ahead.
okay, so you have your laundry, I say laundry list of items on why you stayed. How did you get over? What kind of visuals does a woman have of their man banging out somebody else? I mean, is it as intense, or are you able to get the feel that a man could actually just go have sex with another woman, and as long as he's doing his duties at home, even though you don't like the act itself, do you take it as the emotional crush that a man would take? How do you take it?
Well,
How do
that
you the men?
the
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right?
this yeah. The sex act actually didn't bother me as much. Our pain, it
Yeah.
was the disrespect. He would pick her up from work, and they would go to work together.
Okay.
He would drop her off at work from home, and then they do their thing, and then he come home like nothing ever happened. The fact that I got a few phone calls and be like, yo, I see your truck, I see your man, but I don't see you in the truck, and it ain't you. See, the humiliation and the embarrassment is what really hurt the most to me, not the act of the sexual, because that's 3 minutes in and out, and you're out. You know, it's the fact that it went on for 10 months. So you actually had a bond with this woman. Y'all worked together every day, saw each other 40 days. I when he would come home and say, no, he ate already. That means
Oh,
she was cooking for him. When we would cook and he would grill, he would take a plate to work. He was
oh,
giving her food. So it was all those acts that hurt me the most versus the act itself. Okay, those were hurt. That's what hurt. The fact that everybody knew at his job, and then when I would go up there to drop lunch for him, or they will all like be laughing behind my back. That
that's
is what Mr. Payne hurt the most.
oh,
You know, and what people don't realize, yeah, we're talking about cheating and we're talking about this, but what people need to understand and learn from my experience,
keep
that
going.
what a
Go ahead.
person does doesn't just affect them, the wife or the marriage, but it affects the child, it affects your home life, it
Mm.
affects your finances. It got to the point where it was a fatal attraction situation. We had to get restraining orders. Our house got broken into. I had to go to her house and check her. She came to my job on our anniversary,
Oh
talking
boy,
about happy anniversary, itch. This is one you'll never forget. And showed me a picture of him butt naked at her
oh,
house.
get
So
out of here.
I mean, I went through a lot, and people need to understand that 3, 4, 5 minutes of catching a nut can really reap some repercussions that that go deep, Mr. Payne. It took I mean, it hurt. It really did, and I wasn't shocked. I was more surprised on how sloppy he was with it.
Right.
I mean, you're cheating with a female that lives less than 3 miles from us. You're doing the do in my, because I had a suburban, so you have plenty of space to do what you had to do in that suburban. And it's just like wow. It's
So
like wow,
you think he had an emotional attachment to her?
absolutely.
So
You
okay,
don't
so
stay with a woman for 10 months. And then, not only this, Mr. Payne, she sent me screenshots of their text messages. She sent me screenshots of the gifts that he would buy her. She sent me screenshots of the card he wrote her. So, absolutely. I actually think they were in love. They were in love. So that is what, if it was just a slam bam, thank you, ma'am, it would have been much easier to get over of the fact she knew where I worked. She knew where my kid went to school. It wasn't just pillow talk. You're actually having a relationship with this person and still coming home to me acting like nothing was wrong. And it was like crazy to me that somebody that we've known each other since I was 13 years old. We go way back. Your first marriage broke up because your wife cheated on you, and I helped you get back together mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and you feed me the same poison that you were fed?
so how did you okay, so how did you stay even with all of that? Just because of the things you said before that? So even with as bad as that was, right? Because I've actually, I've heard this similar story on how sloppy a guy is on a lady who stays, right? She stayed with her husband, right? And he it's almost a similar story, right? I mean, from the time the lady was taunting his wife and all that kind of stuff, and she stayed, and they're still together, and I don't know where y'all get it from, but she did a calculation just like you did,
And I'm gonna give you
family,
something real petty. I'm gonna give
right?
you some. I didn't want her to win. I didn't want her to get him. I
Okay,
felt now like I was in competition with her because if I gave up easily, but the main core decision why I wanted to stick it out was because of my son. My son, our son, loved his father. You
okay,
understand that?
yeah,
And that is important. And that
okay,
meant more to me, and I sacrificed more me and our marriage for our son. We went to counseling. I purposely and intentionally and mindfully sought out a Black African American counselor because we was already going to counseling, and he came and said, "Well, you know what? I feel like I'm getting ambushed, you and a female therapist." I said, "Okay, no problem. I will." And we would travel 45 minutes to see this gentleman. At first we went hard. I said, "We got to go 3 times a week." I made him change his phone number, but like I said, keep in mind, guys, she was fatal attraction type of bitch. Every time he would change his number, she would get it. And we
yeah,
found out how. She had a hookup at HR, okay?
okay, jeez,
And the person who gave her that number, every time he changed it, she would get the number back. Or you know what? He could have been giving it to her. I don't know, but I sure as hell called HR to find out what was going on. But you know what? I thank God that God kept me civil, because even my own son said, "Mom, I'm shocked. You didn't go to his job. You didn't act crazy. You didn't, even after y'all went to, because after a while he ended up putting two and two together, and he asked, what the hell is going on with you two?" And I wasn't going to hide it from him anymore. He was old enough. He was asking questions. And I've learned with raising my child that I don't sugarcoat shit. You keep it real. And I'll never forget, we were sitting in the parking lot waiting on the barber, and we're two foodies. There's a Dunkin' Donuts right next to the barber. And we went and got us some food and some coffee. And
Okay.
my son said, Mom, what is going on between you and Dad? What is going on? I'm catching you crying. Dad is miserable. And I told him straight up, I said, look, your dad made a mistake. He was like, what kind of mistake? I didn't really want to tell him, but he's intuitive. He's an Aries. He's
Right.
emotional.
Right.
He was like, no, Mom, I want to know. I'm old enough to know what's going on. And I said, well, your dad had a indiscretion with another woman, and we're trying to work it out. You know what this kid said at 9 years old? Well,
Right.
if he didn't want you anymore and didn't want to be married, why didn't he just leave us instead of causing all this havoc and all this pain? That just broke me down. The fact that a 9-year-old can articulate and express himself in the manner that he did. See, this is why, guys, we can't think that we can hide shit from our children and think that they don't know what's going on. They're
Right.
not as stupid as we think they are. He hears shit. He will hear us argument. No matter if we went outside in the backyard, in the front yard, or we would go for a walk, he knew that something was different. He was
Right.
like, Mom, why do you still fix his plate? Why do you do everything? And he's like, and I explained to him, because first of all, I'm not gonna let nobody change my blueprint. I've been doing this for this man since we got together, and I'm gonna keep doing it for this man until he is no longer my husband. He was like, Mom, you're too much. You're extra. He said, F him. I wouldn't do shit. I said, no, that's still your father. You still will respect him. And we
Right.
all make mistakes. Is how you rectify that mistakes.
Right.
So long story short, we went to counseling. He went off on the counselor, threw the cell
Yeah.
phone at him
Well, get out of here.
because, yeah, because he just wasn't want to hear it. The counselor was telling him literally, "You fucked up. You know you didn't fuck up. You know." And he didn't want to hear that. And then what the nail that hit the coffin was he did it again a year later.
But just look at BMU. Did
What
the
do you
husband
say?
tell? Yeah, he's saying this on the screen, but did the father ever tell the son why he cheated?
No, he's
No.
not gonna have that conversation with my
You
son.
know, BMU is just being, that's
I
BMU.
know, BMU being BMU. So once I found out that he did it, and you see, God works in mysterious ways, because I was on his phone setting up. He wanted to make some extra money and he wanted to do Instacart. So I was setting it up on his phone. But then I had to go drop Jordan off at practice. His dumb ass fell asleep, left the phone open. So when I wasn't going through his phone. I went back to finish the application for Instagram,
Uh-huh.
and I saw something, and I slammed the goddamn phone on his head, and I said, that's it. Get
Uh,
out. And he thought I was joking. I went to
is
work.
this the same girl or different?
No, it's a different girl, which is actually his girlfriend now.
Okay.
Okay. And this happened 7 years ago,
No.
October 14, 2017. So, and I told him to get out, and he didn't take me seriously, and I had to go to work. So I called my son. I said, where's your dad? He's like, he's sitting on the bed looking like a clown, you know? And then I made my friend call my job, say that there was an emergency at the house and I had to leave. And I left, and I said, I'm not playing. You're going to have to go. This is the second time you do this to me. I am not, you just have no regard or respect for our son, our marriage, me. No, you got to go. And I
Okay.
never looked back.
Now, here's a serious question here. BMU said, did he ever tell you why?
I asked him.
When he did he ever
Yeah, I
what
asked him, and his initial answer was because I wasn't given enough head.
yeah. Okay.
That's why you always hear me say less nagging and more gagging, because I
Yeah.
learned my lesson. Even though the therapist said that's a bullshit ass answer, because that could have been very fixable. The fact
Okay.
remains is that when we first got together, he said that wasn't a big deal to him, that he'd rather have the snatch versus head. So not
Okay.
that I wasn't doing it, but I guess I wasn't doing it enough. And I
What?
said that to him. He was like, but that was 10 years ago. I said, well, I didn't get the fucking memo. You could have texted me. You could have talked to me. You could have slapped my forehead with it and done something.
Yeah.
But to go out and step out You know, it
Yeah,
just it didn't make
yeah,
sense.
that was a fixable one. I mean, unless you turned him down and say, hell no, I'm not doing that anymore. He just stepped out. I mean,
Yeah,
what
but then to do
the
it a second time, and then the thing is, he works in a casino. It's a
word?
meat market. It's a meat market, and the women are half naked. You know, you got different people coming in and out. So his current girlfriend that he has right now is the second chick that he cheated on
Yeah.
me with. And what's fucked up about it, she's married too,
Okay.
actively living together.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, listen.
it's
Okay,
some
so what we
Jerry
got in the
Springer
chat?
shit.
Hello to the folks in the chat. So you got your folks who came over. But you know what, Grace? I guess how many? So this has been going. You've been divorced for how many years?
Well, it was 2017. We
Okay,
hung in there for 3 years, so it's about 3, 4 years now.
so that's really not that long. The
I
divorce.
mean, I'm over it. I'll
No, no,
never
but the
forget
point
that
is,
pain.
yeah, it's really not that long. I mean, you remember, you remember all the details. So it's I can say that. But you said something earlier that's true too, right? Especially with men too. And I have to be subject to this. The truth is that we say a lot of things, but until the moment hits you, you don't know how you're going to actually react.
Exactly.
You really don't. And me, I have like a zero tolerance policy. And the reason why I say that is because the way men process these things. But depending on how far along you're in your marriage, you say the big shit, but are you really going to step out? But here's what I think I know. I think that here's what I think I can say. One, I would never ever look at my wife again the same way. Right? I would never look at her the same way. Whatever trust we had, the respect, the trust, it just would be gone.
Now, can you elaborate more for the people in the back? Why, as a man, why can't you
I actually
return
have
from the
I
point of no
actually
return?
I actually have a video for that too, and the
Okay.
video, but the video I have for that is like maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds long, and it's really tame. But if I had to really say why, then this would be like an X-rated damn show. All I
That's
can say
okay. It's
is,
Monday Night Mayhem, Mr. Payne.
I
You
know
remember, you're on my show tonight. You can
that.
go as X-rated as you can.
But the point is, for most men that I know that are still men, you can never get the vision of your wife getting bust down for a guy who has no investment in her like that. Well, see, contrary to popular belief, and a lot of women don't understand that, a woman is never in more submissive of a position than when she's getting pounded out. That's
You're
it.
right.
So all of whether she makes do the sandwich afterwards or not is immaterial. When the act is going on, you're in full, complete submission to a dude who's pounding you out. I don't see how a man could ever forgive his wife for ever doing that. I just don't see it, right? Especially the emotional. See, even though women are nastier today and more promiscuous, there's still the hormonal release. There's still the emotional reasons why they do it. That's why every chick who talks about they're cheating, they always got some bullshit excuse that has something to do with an emotion on why they stepped out on their husband. So if your wife is stepping out with another man, there is an emotional piece there. And and the thing is that, especially if it's a release, she's giving that motherfucker everything she could think of. He's got her turned upside down. She's swing from the shot, and she's sucking his Johnson. He's having her head down. He's blowing on the tits
Slutting
and
her
all.
out.
He's doing all kinds of shit to her because it's free puss. He's doing everything he could think of, and she wants that and more. And then she gonna come back to me and think she could cook dinner and shit, and that's it. Fuck out of here. I can never, I never, never. I don't see how guys can do it. Now, then, like you said, there's this economic piece. So here's the truth: whether I think I would have enough gumption to leave with all the shit that I would lose financially. she would end up leaving me because her life would be a miserable hell staying with me, right? Because I
Mm.
can't forgive her.
You
You
wouldn't
see,
make it easy. You wouldn't make it easy for her.
it would be impossible for her to live with me anymore, right? And having sex with her pretty much would be over. I wouldn't want to touch her no more. She'd be like, a leper, right? So I would have to just, gird up and say, look, I'm gonna take a financial hit for this shit, and I have to weigh that against my mental peace. And
I
and
hear you.
I'll figure out a way to recover. But I probably would never get married again. But that's how it would be. So the real thing is funny. You'll meet, and here's the truth. And I'm gonna play the first video in a second, but
Hold on. BMU wants me to read this. He's
yeah.
saying, imagine him pounding her out. She won't stop him doing things she won't do for you and kissing you after she sucked him.
He always wants to add that one in there. Without brushing her teeth.
Oh,
Yeah.
BMU, go to bed. Okay, just
Yeah,
go to
I mean,
bed. Go
yeah,
finish celebrating your wedding anniversary.
that's what it is. That's what it is. All right, cool. Yeah, happy anniversary. No, but the truth of the matter is, most men that I think that I talk to wouldn't be able to get that visual out of their head. Now, see, and this is the thing. It has nothing to do with the fact that my wife and most men's wives weren't virgins before we met them or married them. So all the shit
True.
that happened before we made that commitment, all those crazy shit could have happened to her too, right? One or two lovers. I don't know how many lovers she had. But I could put that aside because there was no attachment to me. But once you come into my sphere of influence, my gate, that I open that shit, the door to you as being my wife, all that past shit, you don't get to go backwards. And that's just it. I mean, I don't see how guys, I can't get because I know guys who forgive their wife before. I don't know how you do it. Now, I didn't
Now,
like,
though, BMU is trolling us right now. He's saying all that sperm from 2 days ago still inside her, and you eating the monkey. Oh my God! Can you stop? BMU, go to bed. Go eat your
yeah.
own.
Filthy motherfucker.
Now,
I mean, dude, I mean,
most
it's
of the
true.
men that you know, sir, do you the men that you know that forgave their wives, are they African American or they white?
Well, one guy, he's black guy. I mean, I
Okay.
don't have a whole bunch of guys admit it. I know one guy, he did, and he was black guy. The one I know who I talked to about it. Now, I didn't sit down and just say, how could you? I didn't even. Once he told me, then I was in listen mode. I didn't offer up what I thought. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I couldn't do that to him, right? I just was in listen mode because if I sat down here and gave him a graphic description of what his wife is doing with this other dude, that would be pretty bad. So I just said, oh
Yeah.
man, I turned into trying to talk him off the ledge. And as far as
Mm.
him forgiving her or not, I didn't have anything to say on it. I didn't say, well, I don't see how you could forgive her, man. I wouldn't do it. I didn't say any of that. I just became a listening ear to try to keep her from doing something stupid. You
He
know what I'm
was
saying?
that pissed off about it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. They eventually got a divorce. But
Yeah, because he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it, and that's why I need women to think twice. Is getting that dick and that orgasm really worth what you have at home? Because more than likely, and I have the statistics here with my research, he is not going to forgive you, and he will find out. Men are not as stupid as you think they are because they will pick. We start to change. I knew right away. First of all, I found the phone number the first night he got the phone number in his pocket. Okay.
yeah.
But
Well,
I really didn't put too much emphasis in it. And maybe I should have, but I did have my best friend call the number and she wouldn't pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying? She told me that. Oh, I was laughing the night. Me and Roy were laughing the night that you kept calling my number, and I
Uh,
knew it was your bad. I mean, it was like, I mean, if anybody
so,
can be humiliated 1,000 to the power, sometimes I wonder how the hell I made it. Well, no, I don't have to wonder anymore. I made it through from the
she's like,
grace of God.
he ain't gonna BM you again, man.
She on top, and she got her. Wait, hold
I
on,
said,
because I can't see. I gotta read it
okay,
here.
wait, she's on top of you. She got her eyes closed, moaning at the thought of him dirty, the thought of him dirty dick.
Damn, BMU, you trying to get things off your chest?
Okay, Joe, he's trolling. So let's go ahead into the first video here. Now
Okay,
I'm gonna play this first video and see how many violations I get. Because BMU is
make
like,
sure just put fair use, fair use,
once
fair
this
use.
all the fair use stuff is done, it's just a matter. He's got this thing he wants me to do. I think we're in the right format. Uh, so here it is, and it's like
You
it
know,
looks like
JT's in the back if we need
yeah,
help. Okay.
yeah, I got it. This is a short, so if it's okay, I'm gonna just hit the share and we're gonna play it. How about that?
Women cheat more than men?
Far more.
Come on.
Far more.
Come on.
Far from.
Why do you think women cheat more than men?
Because they're in denial about the infidelity. When they cheat, they don't even label it as that. They find a way to redirect and shift the terminology so that they are void of guilt. If a woman is cheating, it's because she has a man that accepts unacceptable because he is unwilling to walk away when his boundaries are broken. A woman who's planning to come home late all the time and planning to go on a bunch of holidays and planning to keep in touch with her ex and planning to post a bunch of provocative pictures online, he's perfect. He's perfect, because he'll maybe pay for everything, he'll maybe sort the house out, maybe give her the kids. He's perfect. And he'll say, oh, babe, I don't really like that bikini picture. And she'll say, stop oppressing me. And that will be the end of the conversation.
Women.
There you go. So that's just that simple. Just that simple.
Yeah,
me-
I mean, she's absolutely right, but she was mistaken on one thing, because I actually did research. You are so well structured with your shows, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know our pain now. He gives you a whole itinerary. I love it. I absolutely love it. So when I looked it up, and Travel One, I'm gonna have to dismantle one of your comments. So give me just a second. It says here, men are more likely to cheat than women according to studies, but there are many factors that can influence infidelity, and gender differences are not always consistent. According to the General Social Survey, 20% of men and 13% of women admitted to having sex with someone other than their spouse while married. I mean, we're not too far behind. It's only a 7% difference.
it depends on it depends on what research that you get that from. I don't know how many sources you have. I mean, you read some sources like the lady Sadia that we just saw. She
Mm-hmm.
has sources too. She has a whole website of talking about infidelity and how women cheat more. So I hear it's not like it's outlandish, but that number is from that particular source, and I'm not so sure that's accurate because with women. So, but here's the thing, and I got a video for that too. That cheating is in the eye of beholder, right? I think when a woman, if your woman is, and especially these days, if she's a social media a person who's just on social media and she looks halfway good, she posts pictures, she has DMs, right? So she'll have men in her DMs.
Yeah,
Then,
you're right.
so if she entertains any of them, even as a pen pal, and she doesn't tell her husband about it, that's the first stages of cheating. If
You're
she's getting
absolutely right, Mr. Payne. And I think that's you bring up a very important point.
right,
What you may consider cheating may not be considered cheating to me. So I think that's a very necessary conversation that needs
exactly,
to be happen in the beginning. For
right.
example, the recent gentleman that I was dating, I asked him, what is considered cheating to you? And he told me straight up, as soon as you give somebody else another man your phone number, I'm done with you. because now you know what that leads to. Because
Right.
look what it led to with you and me when we exchanged phone numbers and we
Yeah.
met and things like that. So I knew you, maybe to you that's not considered cheating. Maybe exchanging text messages or meeting for coffee. Every person has their threshold
The
of what
key,
cheating
but
is.
what's the key though, Grace? The key is not telling.
Communication.
No. The key of the cheating is not telling your spouse about.
Well, if you want to do that, don't. If your spouse would be upset and feel disrespected, if you won't do it in front of your spouse, then don't do it behind their
Well,
back.
that's the point. That's the point. So here's where you might get the person who said, "Well, you're insecure, you're not justified." Well, if you didn't have any nefarious intent, why not let me know who this is and why you're doing it? And so
Hmm.
once you start doing that's a gateway drug, right? It's a gateway to cheating, and that's why with men uh, who had maybe a lot of lovers or still have some of their like alpha widow girls in the wake, you can't go anywhere with those ladies. You can't be in a spot where you will cheat because if the situation is right, you're going to slip up. You got to turn some of that stuff completely off. And you got to make sure it's completely off, or else you're going to slip up. I mean, because you might think in your head that you won't do anything, then why are you in proximity to a person where you can actually cheat with, right? A restaurant, in a car, taking her to lunch, in a car, well, your private spots might have been as shit, do I turn left or do I turn right and go back to the office? That kind of shit. If you put yourself
Hmm.
in those situations after a couple of drinks, you turn in left.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And another thing that I think cheating has become so prevalent, Mr. Payne, is because we have too many options now. It's too easy to go to your D. I can go to my DM right now. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pick a ninja by the toe. I have options. I can
Okay.
pick.
So,
It's much easier now.
well, yes, but listen to this, Grace.
Okay.
It's not equivalent. Men don't have DM. Regular men don't have everybody in their DMs like women do. So that's why I take these statistics that show women don't cheat as much as men with a grain of salt, because the average dude is not going to have a plethora of DMs. Might get a few if you're extra good looking and all that kind of stuff and really socially active and people know you. But there's no equivalency between the amount of attention women get in social media than a man gets. I mean, on average. So most men, if they're going to cheat, they got to actively go searching for somebody to cheat with for the most part. Where women, the
Hmm.
world is coming towards them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're halfway decent looking. So, and some of those provocative pictures, they don't have to do no work. Just show a couple of pics. You have a whole bunch of, horny dudes in your goddamn whatchamacallits, your
And
DM.
you're right. I mean, I can relate our pain. I don't have provocative pictures on my social media, but because I am out there on social media, and sorry, I'm gonna say it because I already know this about me. I'm a pretty motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, I do get that attention. And then you're right, because some days are so like, what just happened today? What did I wear the right color today? And and you're right, but it is up to me
Right.
to entertain them. See, I want the kind of relationship,
Yeah.
our pain, that if I'm in
Yeah.
the shower and my phone rings, I want to be like, babe, answer my phone. I
Yeah.
don't want, because it's exhausting. It is exhausting, trying to catch your spouse, what he's up to,
Well,
going through the phone,
I hear
chasing,
you. Can I
you
tell you
know?
something? Can I tell you something on that?
Yeah.
I've been married, well, you guys know I've been married for 37 years. I've never, ever checked my wife's phone. She don't even have that much social media, but her phone, never checked it. She never checks mine either. Never. I mean, never asked, never thought my phone is,
Because you never gave her a reason to.
well, some people actually are just always paranoid whether you get the reason or not, right? Of course, I outkicked my coverage when I married my wife. She's a pretty nice looking lady, especially when we was much younger. So she was getting hit on all the time. So, but she knew how to just deflect all that. But I never got any feeling from that I needed to be worried, right? So I don't see. Here's the thing: I don't have to check my wife's phone because I paid a bill. I have access to all the records, right? All the phones are in my name. I got access to all the records, right? So,
Oh, well, that's another thing I did. I shut down all the phones, and he used to be the owner of the cell phone account. I shut that shit down and I put it in my name. And another way where I was able to solidify the second indiscretion was I had a friend that worked in Verizon, and
okay,
it told the whole story. I mean, you could tell I left the work. He would stay on the phone all day with her. That's why I knew things were usually he worked the overnight shift. He gets off at 8. I used to go to work at 8. Usually he would cook dinner. The kid would be bathed. Things weren't getting done. He was sleeping when I got home. And I said, oh, here we go again. You know what I'm saying? So, but this time I was more prepared. I was owner of the cell phone account. I was able to pull up records. There was no denying it anymore.
right,
You know?
right. No, I'm with you. Listen, you ready for clip number 2?
Yeah, but look what Black Man said. People don't use regular phone to text no more. You guys better catch up. Oh, I know about all these secret apps and all
Yeah,
these behind yeah,
yeah,
I know, Black Man Unfiltered. That's why sometimes I think maybe if you can't beat them, join them. You know what
yeah,
I'm, and that's another thing, our pain. Back then, the when I was living that life, I was bi. I wouldn't have mind us, dabbling in the you. And
yeah.
every day, every year on my birthday, I would ask him for that. And he would tell me no. That's why it even hurt even more. I said, you had an opportunity to have your cake and eat it too, but you
Yeah,
chose to
great,
do it
great,
behind my back. I'm like,
great,
really?
great,
Really?
great, great. You doing it like that, huh? Anyway,
Yes, I
so
got more game with females than I do with males.
so listen, this next one is about a man cheating and
Okay.
a woman forgiving him. So since you told us your story, maybe you might hear something in this thing, and we have
Okay.
something to talk about. So let's go and get that. Uh, Let me find it. Where's it at? Give me a second. Oh, all right. It's in here somewhere. Shit. Let me find it. Hold on for a second. I have it somewhere. Oh, well, I don't have it. I don't have it lined up. So give me a second. I'm gonna line it up.
That's okay. I'm gonna read this comment. Disappearing messaging has taken the world by storm. You will never catch that, and you can put those messages to rest where your phone won't even go off from that person. I know, BMW. Why don't you just keep shitting on the parade? Just go ahead. Just lay more shit on the shit pile. What did he say? Cheating is deeper than you guys think for a man. If a woman cheats on him, in his mind, whether he stays or not, he's wishing her death daily in his mind. Damn. Well, let me tell you, Black man, unfiltered. There's a lot of men that do that and delete their spouses when they walk in on them. I'll find out.
Oh my God. All right. We ready?
Yep.
All right.
Good people, though, sometimes do bad things. I get it. He had an affair about 2 years ago when the pandemic first started. I forgave him, and we have been trying to work it out. I knew that I did not want a divorce. I wanted to try to forgive and move on. He has been apologetic and very sweet this past year, but I have continued to treat him mean whenever I have flashbacks of what he did to me. I do not believe that he is still cheating, but I'm still kind of angry internally and resentful. How dare he do that to me when I was out there working 12-hour shifts at the hospital, trying to make sure we don't lose this house when he had fallen hard on good. He had fallen on hard times. So he must have, I don't know, pandemic. He fell on hard times. Yeah, I was working a lot during that time and I didn't feel like having sex every other day. But I maintained faithfulness to my husband the entire time. So, yes, I am resentful, even though it was 2 years ago. My recent concern is that my husband has recently stopped trying as hard to win me over. It's like he's tired of trying now. I punished him too much and pushed him away? I'm so confused. I believe in forgiveness and I do love him. And I guess he won't keep trying to win me over forever. How do I erase what he did from my heart? I know he's truly sorry for what he did. He seems exhausted now, though, with trying to mend things, and now he's given up. He is still here, but he never tries to be intimate anymore. He said he's tired of apologizing for what he did, and he won't kiss my ass anymore. I feel like he owes me more effort since he is the one who deeply hurt me.
So this is a I love this topic.
Mm,
This is a good one.
it is.
And the reason I say that is because first of all, one of the biggest things in relationships is when you break trust.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing. But let me just say this to the sister. Once you say I forgive you, you playing a game if you keep trying to punish this young man repeatedly after you say I forgive you. See, so you already know that he loved you and you love him because you stayed, right? So that should have told you he was good enough to keep. So now that he's not doing it anymore, you owe him more than just to try to make him keep kissing your ass, because it's not just kissing your ass, it's really
Let me stop it right there for a second, Grace, so we can talk. We don't have
Okay.
to take it. So they said a lot already, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
She's okay. So this guy cheated on his wife. And when she talked about forgiving him, she added the extra added oomph of the fact that she forgave him, but he was cheating on her even when he was down bad, and she was doing everything for the family, working, bringing in the money. She took all the role. She took on the role because he was down. He was down bad, right? So
Okay.
it was almost as if he was never down and he was at his peak and cheated, she would have felt a little less worse because all the stuff she did while he's going to get his freak on, and she's working her ass off 12 hours a day and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, was she more mad? She's mad at him cheating, but it didn't make it worse the fact that he was cheating while he was down bad and she was working extra hours. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because that's like you're digging the knife, but then you're also twisting it while you're digging in the knife. I mean, here I am, here she is working 12 hours, taking care of everything, and then you have the audacity to cheat on me, and I know exactly how she feels. But what she did wrong in this situation is you can't say you forgive somebody and then not forgive them. It's either you're going to mean what you say and say what you mean, because you cannot allow this man to be punished for the rest of his life for a mistake that you say you have forgiven him for. Then you really haven't forgiven him. And then they didn't do any counseling. You didn't get to kind of repair it. So she is still holding, because these are the steps. First is hurt, then is anger, then is resentment, and then is hate.
Okay.
And I didn't have sex with my ex-husband for 3 months when I found that out. But then there was a time where I had to break down and let that allow to happen, due to the fact that shit, I'm gonna lose him again if I don't do what I'm supposed to
Well,
do. If I don't do so
well, let me ask
you
a
can
question on that though. What's
go
the
ahead.
representative? What's okay? So, but you understand? Yeah. Let me say this. Isn't it easier to say you could forgive somebody, but you actually don't forget that easy? So,
And
so what I'm saying is she forgave him, but there were probably triggers that when it crosses her mind, right? Until that shit really wanes, every time the thought crosses your mind, it brings it all back, right? And so she might have forgiven him because for her, forgiveness is staying in the marriage. But the fact that she didn't forget the all the circumstances that she went through when he was cheating, right? So the man comes on and says, "Well, if you forgive the guy, you're supposed to let it go." But the truth of the matter, that's definitely easier said than done.
It
Now,
is, and it
should it be
takes time.
2 years? I don't know. That's why. So now it's 2 years and running. I say that's much too long, right? So,
At
but
least she got remorse from him. At least she was kissing her ass. See, my ex wasn't doing that. He has yet till this day apologized to me about it. Okay, so she got more than
okay,
I did, and she didn't reciprocate. If you're gonna forgive a person, ladies and gentlemen, you have to try to forget. You can't
okay,
keep bringing that shit up. You can't throw it in his face every time you have an argument. You can't throw it in a person's face when they're 10 minutes late. It's either you're gonna wholeheartedly forgive, or you might as well just walk away.
yeah. So that's the bulk of that whole the point we're
Hmm.
talking about now is the real point of that whole video. So the extra 2 minutes doesn't add anything else to it.
Okay.
So yeah. So I just think I just wanted to put that in there, but just to say we had one video where a lady said, "Hey man, women cheat more than men." And it's a woman saying that. So whatever statistic category she got it from, she didn't say what those statistics were. But let's assume that she looked that up, right? Because if you look at her website, she's got some, or her YouTube channel, she might have a certain amount of credibility, but she didn't offer up
Hmm.
no data there like you did. Uh,
Okay.
the second video we just saw was about a man cheating, but the woman stayed with him. But her deal is how much punishment is enough punishment. And I think that in general, women who forgive men, that there's a punishment period. That's a fact, right? And it's going to be different for every woman depending on the circumstances. I'm thinking that if he was on his square, he was bringing in money, and she was comfortable, and he cheated, I don't think his penance period would have been 2 years. It would have been
True.
okay. I got a select man. He's taking care of everything in the house. He stepped out. I punish him, but you know what? The reason why I'm still here is because he still has the attributes that I want. And if I go back out on the street, the chances of me finding that again are not that likely. And that's true. That's not. It's funny. I think that's even true for pretty women. That when they find, I'm talking about, not maybe not the tens, but I think a lot of ladies underestimate how hard it is to find a guy that you had that had the qualities that were good enough for you to marry if you did it properly. So
I
when
hear
they
you, Mr. Payne, because even after the second time,
right,
I still kept the option on the table to work it out, because now my son was 11. He has
mhm,
it as he was going to be at his most volatile age, where
mhm,
his father would have needed him the most.
right,
But the fact that we stopped going to counseling, you did it again, you were nonchalant about it. Nah, bro, I couldn't do it, Mr. Payne. Not a second time. I
well,
mean,
I'm with
no,
you. I'm with you. That's
you
that's
know.
that's fair. Um, but yeah, so so we could look at those situations a little differently uh, and look at it. So I do say though, it's kind of agreed that women will have some reasons to keep a guy as long as that guy has some merit still, even after he cheats. That's what I think. I think women would use that calculus to define. Because I don't know what the percentages are. Now we hear on TikTok and social media, women always complaining, "Well, my man, he still cheated. No matter what he is, he still cheated. He still cheated." And but I don't hear a lot of them saying, "Well, if he cheats once, I'm going." I hear a few saying that, but a lot of these women stay with the cheaters. A lot
Yeah,
of them.
because it's hard out there for a pimp. I mean, finances wasn't an issue for me, but even the companionship, having
Right.
to start all over, having a new man exposed around to my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went and got my tubes tied right away, because there was no way I was going to have another child with another man. I mean, all of that mattered to me, and I
Okay.
know I'm a unicorn when it comes to this, but it's also with my upbringing. I wasn't going to have another child and have a baby daddy and all this bullshit. To me, I don't know nothing about that.
Right.
Everybody got married, they had their children and stayed married in my family. I mean, I got 4 cousins right now that moved to Michigan from New York, and they're all married. They all have their kids. They done all been through their bullshit, but they're still together.
Right, right.
We all come from the same family tree. We all have the same beliefs. But I couldn't do it anymore. I could not allow my son to see. I didn't want that example for my son. All I
Okay.
told my son was learn from that. See what it causes. That's why I told him try all 32 flavors, go to Baskin Robbins, get that shit out your system. You know, if you love the stripper type of chick, that's
Yo,
who you
yo,
marry.
yo,
Don't
now,
marry the
you been
church
telling
girl
that.
to satisfy me yeah, I did tell him that you marry who's going to respect you and make you happy.
The stripper girl ain't respecting nobody. But
Hey,
anyway,
but you know what I'm saying, the freaky girl.
I know what you're saying. All right. What's up, BMU? What you got to say, man?
Oh,
He's
Good evening.
there you go.
Yes, yes. Good evening. Good evening. How can I help? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear
yeah,
you.
we can hear you, BMU.
Oh, yeah. See, I have a lot to say about this because what from a man's perspective, the video that we watched about that woman saying that she having to go work and work busting her ass. She is busting her ass and working like that when he's down. I don't care if she's taking care of the family. She's resenting that man. And
Right.
with resentment, that woman is going to give him hell. She's going to
Hmm.
say things. She's going to have different jabs. She's going to come home and bitch about certain things. She's going to say, "Damn, if I ain't had to work all these hours, damn, I'm tired. Oh my god, damn, you got." She's going to make that man feel like shit.
For 2 years. She
But
did.
yeah, if he's down, and I'm telling you, black women are notorious for this. And I hate to say it. I hate to say it about my sisters. But I wish Tay Keith was up here because she'd tell you the same damn thing I'm telling you. If a woman has to do everything and you're down, no matter if he's been taking care of you for 20 years, I know a man right now in my personal life, I won't say his name, who has been, his wife has been a housewife for 17 years. And his job laid him off and the company went bankrupt. She went got a job and now she bitching talking about, oh, I'm just so glad. Oh my God, I got to do all this fucking work. Oh, I got to pay all these bills. He took care of you for 17 years and now you're resenting him?
But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So she's a bitch
Hmm?
But
to him.
but
And that's what she does. He's gonna go over, and that lady's gonna open her arms. Do you remember Fences when Denzel said, "Hey, listen, when I'm here, I feel like I'm working every day. I gotta do every fucking thing. I gotta fix every fucking thing." He said, "But when I'm over across town with her, my laughter fills the room."
you
He
know
She's
said
at
what?
that.
peace.
Yeah, but BMU, right?
Come
I
on.
gotta say this, brother. What the hell is the purpose of having a side chick if it's just gonna be miserable? It's gotta be like that. That's the definition of having a side chick. If I was gonna have a side chick, it's gotta be rainbows and cherries on top of that shit. If I get any adjective, what the hell I want a side chick for? If I go over there, I want to be completely at peace because I'm not invested in that woman other than her just whatever I had to do to quid pro quo. So I don't blame. I mean, to me, that's okay. Yeah, what's the purpose of having a side chick if it ain't peaceful?
Right, right, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think the majority of men, they would like to not have a side chick. But what happens is we have a lot of women, and I swear I don't mean to just. I'm just saying this because I got to keep it unfiltered here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
a lot of women are fucking delusional.
Of
A lot
course.
of women, if you go to therapy or you go to any type of psychiatric hospital, doctor or anybody, they will tell you if you're in a relationship with someone, all I hear is women say, "Well, I did what I was supposed to do. I gave him the ass. I gave him the head. I did everything." And then you talk to the man, you did everything you thought you wanted. You did everything you thought he wanted. You
Right.
didn't do everything that he wanted. He may have wanted you to cuddle up with him. He may want to be vulnerable with you. And all those things you think you're doing that's making him happy, you're not doing the things that make him happy. You're doing the things that you think is making him happy. And that's why so many women are saying, "Oh, well, I do everything." You're not doing everything. You're missing something. And if the reason that he's going out trying to find pussy elsewhere is because that pussy elsewhere is hitting those spots that you're not hitting.
Yep.
And it's a shame that most women will sit in the house and give their man a massage, and he'll get up and feel the same way he felt when he laid down. But he go to the side bitch house and she know every muscle that hurts him. Get the fuck out of here, man. These women are delusional as fuck.
Yeah, but listen, I do agree with you. I mean, the basic premise of the previous show was this chick wanting all that shit. She had no idea how to answer the question when the guy put it to her. What am I getting out of this deal? In general, I think that's where a lot of women lack. Not just we're talking about black women, but I think women in general are so selfish. They don't think about they only think about what they receive. They don't really think about what they give. I mean, the men are the givers, so women are receivers, and they play their part very well. And the reason why women with means, even when I hear these rich chicks, right, they're the 1%ers. But if they married a man, they still want him to pay all the bills. It's like wait a minute, you're a multi-millionaire.
You know
What the fuck are you talking about?
Right. You know what fucked me up, R-Pain?
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian is a billionaire, and so is Kanye West, and she went and got child support.
Exactly.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah,
and they still gave it to her.
Well, it's not only that, but Kanye West, he probably didn't even fight it. He probably didn't even fight it because the way he's strange that way. I don't even think he fought it. He just said, okay, take it. He bought a house.
No, he bought a house he bought a house right across the street.
And then, she just, because, and it's an outrageous amount of money, by the way. It's an outrageous amount of money. But I just think he just said, I'm not going to fight it. And he's crazy that way. I don't think she should have got shit. She had, I think at that point, after the little hats got finished with him, she was probably worth more than him. So
Yep.
Anyway, so listen, so we got we have a further discussion here, right? Another video of why men like me. It's just something to confirm what I said. It's a real short video about a man saying why men don't forgive cheating.
Okay, this is good.
Before you play it, R-Pain, I'm
Yes,
going to go
sir.
ahead and go, man. Y'all have a great show tonight. JT had to leave, but you got it, R-Pain. Y'all have a great show, rest of the show tonight. And I'm going to go in here and try to I'm going here and get me some vagina tonight. And hopefully everybody else been in it today. So I'm going to make sure before I do anything.
You better stop trying the missus, okay? Before she don't give you none at all.
Well, I just asked her. Can I marry you? And she told me I could. So I'll just send you a plane ticket so you can come on down so you can be my second wife.
Good night, BMU.
I love you, baby. Y'all have a good night.
All right. So he said, I don't know how we get this on the line thing off. Oh, he's got this thing here. Where's that at? I don't even know where that banner is.
Oh, I'll take it off. I got you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna play this next one, right? It's real short.
See, my queen take heed. She dancing to Celine Dion right now with her husband while she listening to us. See, Rose, I love them too.
That's good. All right, so here we go. Here's a man saying why men can't forgive.
Men don't forgive cheating is that men's technical imagination is more profound. He's going to have these mental images that are very detailed and include fluids of what happened and where it happened. He's going to be thinking about your faces that you made, and he's going to be scarred. And this is going to harm him every time he looks in your face. Women don't really have that. Women more so have like this emotional connection. Like, hey, did you love her? And if you didn't, well, then you're scot-free. The reason men don't forgive cheating.
Yeah, so that was a short one, right? But it's true. I mean, it's very true. I mean, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody moved it out.
It's okay. Men are visual creatures. They will not be able to remove that visual out of their head.
Right. So, but let me ask you a question. Do you think, hey, what's up? Sean's there, man. What's going on? What do you think women understand? I think women do. I think all women, I think black women too. I think they understand why men are less forgiving. What do you think about that?
I don't think so, because women really don't take the time to understand men. They're trying to learn men from other women, where you should learn men from other men. And women really think that they're supposed to feel and act and operate the way women do, and that's just not the case.
No,
And
it's
that's
not.
why I think that women are delusional or lying to themselves, thinking that it is as easy as us. See, the one thing we do the most when we forgive a man for cheating on us is that we have the most amount of empathy, whereas a man is not going to empathize being his wife mounted. You know what I'm saying? And then the visual of his wife being mounted. It's just, ladies, it's just not going to happen.
It's not gonna
So
happen.
if you cheat and you get caught, just know that 95% he is going to leave and going to want a divorce. So you might as well just the writing on the wall.
Well, we say 95%, right? And I think it might be a little less than that because of the economic thing. But I
Hmm.
could I could tell the ladies though, for the most part, depending on the man, I think your home life will be a living hell. Whatever way your relationship is, it will never be the same again. It's just not, and I'm not saying all men because there are some men, depending on their past or if they were cockholded before, if they were swingers or they were like, maybe they can handle that. But the everyday average guy, there's no way back for him. It's just no way back for him, especially if he's really connected to his wife, or he thought he
And
was.
he really loves his wife.
Well,
You know,
I use the word connected instead of love for sure. When I say connected, is that because love is whatever. Yeah, you got to be in love, but it's more than that. It's more than that because I don't think women understand. See, a lot of women are under the delusion that they do that a committed man does less in a marriage than they do. I don't believe
mm,
that that's true. Now, because you might do the fixing around the house, make the home a house. But if you got a guy that's really on top of his game, the everyday pressures of life are not on your shoulders because he's there, right? So that's why I tell guys this emotional intelligence bullshit is really emotional intelligence for a man is knowing what not to tell your wife, right? You can't be whining,
mhm.
whining and crying on your wife's shoulder to give her some emotion. Oh yeah, yeah, I want you to feel my deepest feelings and all that bullshit, man. Fuck that, man. No, right? If some shit, I can't see a man coming home. Well, the boss was mean to me tonight. Last night in the work. I need some comfort. What you gonna do? I said this before in one of those lives. I think it's a weakness that doesn't necessarily lead to cheating. But if you go home, for men out there, if you go home and tell your wife all your vulnerable feelings and all that shit, then try to hit this emotional, if she gets into trouble somehow on her own, right? If she has some kind of decision she has to make, but it impacts the family or impacts your marriage,
Mhm.
and she knows last night you were crying on her shoulder with some boohoo bullshit, she might not think you could take helping her fix that problem. So she won't tell you, and she'll try to fix it on her own, and maybe might fuck it up even worse. So I'm saying she can't think that you're so weak that she gotta pamper you. So if you over there boohoo whining and crying to your wife all the time, she's gonna.
And I agree with you. You gotta read your man. If I call my man and and I say, "Baby, how was your day?" "Oh, it wasn't that good," and da 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 da. Okay, like I know tonight's for Monday night, Thursday night football, so I'm gonna make sure I have his scotch ready,
Yeah,
his cigar ready, his
mm,
some chicken wings and what I
yeah.
call fat people fries that I make, and I'm gonna try to comfort him,
Okay.
not baby him, but do things that I know to give him peace and try to ease the situation. But
You
women won't do
Hell,
that. Women
hell
don't.
no. I was just about to go. I stopped rubbing on the ass cheeks to come back. I
peel me,
knew
man. You still yeah.
I knew our pain was gonna say some dumb shit tonight. I knew it. I knew it.
Poor Mrs. BMU.
I told my wife, shut up, I'll be back. I knew our pain was gonna say something fucking crazy. He said a man basically we're saying that if a man cannot be vulnerable with his fucking wife, and his wife is looking at him like he's a bitch, she is not the one for you. A man should be able to come home and say what the fuck he wants to say to his wife, and his wife not look at him that way.
We could have a whole show on that shit.
Oh my god!
Yeah, okay. So we have to define what vulnerability means. You know?
Okay. I'm going to do a show tomorrow for Tuesday.
Okay.
I had a show ready and locked and ready, but I'm finna change it. Tomorrow will be the vulnerable man is a bitch. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. Okay. The vulnerable man is a bitch.
Oh Lord, look at this Pandora's box.
Hey, so let me tell you this. I have to take credit for giving you the idea for another show.
Motherfucker, and make sure you
Yo, man, listen, I'm not saying your wife can't be your peace, but you can't be boo-hoo whining and crying on the
Oh man, that man want to boo-hoo. Let that man boo-hoo, goddammit. Let that man boo-hoo. I see y'all. I love y'all, man.
Somebody need to drop a super chat, please.
It's Mrs. PM, save us, please. Yo, man.
But you know what? I learned my lesson, all Payne. I will no longer be slacking in that department, if you know what I mean. You know, once I went to therapy, I realized that I also had a hand in the deterioration of our marriage. I took accountability. I ignored the red flags when he was trying to talk to me and say you're spending too much outside because I was working 2 jobs. I was coaching basketball. I was just like never home. You know, so that opened up a lot of time for him to entertain that bitch. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, I neglected him, and I have to take accountability for that. And that's what a lot of women don't want. They always want to put fault on the man. It's not like I'm a pick me, but come on, ladies, we be fucking up a lot too, and want to always point the finger on the men. And we need to put our big girl panties on and deal with it and fix our issues. You love that man from the rip. You wanted to be with that man. But now you don't want to give him box? Come on.
That's crazy. Hey, listen. So there's a survey, right? A vote in the chat, right? About this question on this part, and should a man forgive a woman? So go ahead and make sure you put your vote in there.
I did.
Oh yeah,
I did.
Everybody else in the chat too.
Oh.
So okay. So listen, the next, we can go through it. We only got two more short videos, but the one thing is, the lady that we saw first, she comes on and she says, from her standpoint, of cheating, she says, forgive men and not women. That's what she says. This is her opinion about cheating. Forgive men, but not women. And we had a full conversation about that. But she's more definitive about why she doesn't think a man should forgive his wife. And I agree with her. Yeah, again, with all the other caveats that come on, you really never know what you're going to do unless you're in that situation, right? So let's go ahead and play that one so everybody can hear it and know what I'm talking about. It's a pretty good one.
Okay, let's let it roll.
We're going to let it roll. She's a nice looking woman too.
A lot of stick for saying this, but I think that you can forgive men and overcome it in your relationship. You can potentially restore that relationship. And I know everyone's going to cry in the comments. You can't forgive a woman. Cannot go backwards. And the reason I say that is men are better at compartmentalizing sex, and to some extent that's why so many men go to escorts. There's not many women that pay for sex. There's not many women that watch, well, there's lots of women that watch pornography, but there's not many women that will actually be like on a drunken night text an escort and say, oh, this guy, I'm going to pay him hundreds of dollars and he's going to be with me. It's not as common. Men can literally do that and feel nothing from it, feel no disgust or feel nothing. They don't. So when they are unfaithful, depending on the needs. If it was simply a sexual need because you haven't slept with him for so many years, and you reestablish that intimacy, hopefully you can reestablish the respect in the relationship. I'm not saying it's ideal, I'm not saying it's easy, but potentially you can. If he outsourced love, you can't go back from that. If he fell in love with another woman, he outsourced love, that means there was something lacking in the love he didn't enjoy as much. But if he outsourced sex and you haven't been giving him sex, that you can somewhat restore. When a woman cheats, it's not that she'll magically fall in love with the man that she's cheating with, but she will magically fall out of love with the man that she cheated on. For her to cheat on you, there's a level of respect she just doesn't have for you. It's a respect thing. For her to even get there, she has to fall out of some love and respect for you, which is hard to reverse. And the reason in all the men that I've seen that get cheated on, is never, ever the guy is a bad man, he's unattractive, he's broke. It's never that. It's simply he's a people pleaser. It is that simple. The men that get cheated on, they're never, ever unattractive. They're never broke. They're simply a people pleaser. And what I mean by a people pleaser is they don't have an opinion on her behavior. They'll allow her to do whatever she wants, behave however she wants, just happy wife, happy life. And the more they do that,
But the boundaries aren't
the
set.
boundaries disappear. And as a result, the unfaithfulness is you're fast tracking her towards unfaithfulness, because women look for a protective quality. They might label it toxic, they might say they don't like it, but they still like to feel like you have some radar of her behavior. Her ability to manipulate you, her ability for you to just bend over and allow everything, means that she loses attraction and she outsources it. And if she stays with you after cheating, you have free accommodation. Or the other guy just didn't want anything serious, and that's why she's staying. I guess.
There you go.
Mm-mm-mm.
There you go.
Mm-mm-mm.
Right?
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's essentially okay. So is that, how much of that do you agree with or not agree with?
I mean, I mostly agree with all of it because, again, women cheat based on an emotional status. We've checked out of the relation. If we're spreading our legs for the next man and doing all that shit to another man, we have mentally, physically, and sexually checked out of that marriage. Sometimes women can come back from it. Most women don't. But a man, again, ladies, they are wired differently. And I am living proof of that. He used to drop her off at work, do his due, and then come home like nothing happened. Hi, honey, how you doing? How was your day? Like nothing. It was just post nut clarity. It's just a nut to a man. It's just a nut. To us, it's emotions. It's this and it's that. And if we start to really understand that about men, I think us ladies would be better off. And also, our pain.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I don't think that men were built to be in a monogamous relationship. That's why I was okay when I was younger, not now. I was okay with having a poly relationship because I understood that men like variety. Men get bored easily, and you know, and this is being married to one person and having sex only to that one person. It's something that was made up here in the Western civilization. That's not something that's seen all across the world.
No,
That's
it's
just
not. It's not.
so that's another thing. Looking in the Bible, how many wives Abraham had. Looking in Africa, how many wives they have. It's only really that you see it here. So we force something upon us. And I get it. It's in the Bible, man and woman. It's the Christian thing to do. But in the world that we live in today, it's really hard. And that's why we have to be more understanding of each other. We have to be able to really vet each other. We have to be really ready to be married. Are you really ready to be with that one person for the rest of your life? No more new penis, no more new vagina. Are you really ready to do that? Or are you just saying that in the moment because you wanted a beautiful wedding?
You know, listen, you know what? We'll bring up in a second there, hot sauce. I see you there. Hey, listen, one of the things, though, I say that what happened, I think some of the things that also happened in the United States and in the West is that we're finding out that, you know, I hate to say it, but remember now, Grace, women control the sexual marketplace. And we really we play it, men playing it, but women play it because women like sex too. The truth of the matter is because our culture has been destroyed. Our social constructs of chastity, as of virtuosity for women, their virtue, nobody cares about. Now, you don't hear women talking about virtue anymore. When the pill came out, promiscuity, the Now organization, one of their big planks was to break monogamy, break the marriage, promote promiscuity as empowerment. And the more and more women wanted to have sex with many men, forgetting about what it does to them, the more chaos was in the sexual marketplace. So women are not necessarily wanting to be monogamous at all. Let's think about this. One of the biggest excuses I hear from women is that marriage is too constricting, right? If you're in a good marriage with a person, a man, it's what's constricting. You can still go to school. You can still
You can
get a
still
marriage.
go to work.
You can still go to work. You can still do everything you can do. The only thing you can't do is bang other guys. That's the only thing in the marriage you can't do. And so that's when I hear a woman sucks that the marriage is too constricted or to one guy, it's because they want to have multiple lovers. And that's just something. And the same thing for a guy. Here's what I was saying when you mentioned your son. I tell young men who are marriage minded, if they like a lot of women and they get a lot of sex, they got to come to grips with the fact that you don't never get that shit out your system. You have to make a choice that you're not going to cheat, and you might have to keep making that choice. And that choice means you might have to change your behavior when you're around other women. Not might, but you will.
Absolutely.
All right. So,
And
the way you're wired is the way you're wired. Okay.
I also hope that my son learned
Right.
from what me and his father went through, and he could be better than us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
up, hot sauce?
What's going on, hot sauce? What's happening?
Hey,
What you got?
how's everybody doing today? I hope
All
everyone's
right.
doing well.
Good,
So,
good, good. What
just
say you?
so here's the situation. I'll say. So first of all, women like men who are strong, independent, and have barriers, standards. Okay. So
Right.
here's the problem: when a woman forgives, when a woman forgives a man for cheating, they can get over it better because when a woman forgives, the man doesn't lose respect for the woman. But if you
Yeah.
forgive your wife for cheating, she will lose respect for you. And 8 times out of 10, when you forgive her for cheating, she's still going to leave you because she lost respect for you because she feels as though is that you don't have any standards for yourself that I can cheat on you and you take me back. So therefore, I'm going to still do it and I'm going to lose respect for you. You see what I'm saying?
Damn.
And
So it's a double
this is
whammy.
why this is why statistically, right? When men forgive women for cheating, the relationship still ends as opposed when women forgive men for cheating because there's a respect level there. And women lose respect for men who have lower boundaries than men who have high boundaries and high standards.
Oh,
She'll
we
lose
agree.
respect for you.
Yep. Yeah. Respect. Listen. You're correct. I mean, on the list of things that I want from my wife, respect is at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Exclusivity is on that list too. Pretty much second. So once she cheats, she's broken the first two. Like love is on the list and all that other kind of stuff. But here's Big M, $10. PAYNE, forget that I'm cheating. These hoes are
Yeah,
like cake.
because that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Even when she begs you back, if you accept her back,
You can't.
she will still lose respect for you. And once that happens, it's a done deal.
I agree with you. You know what's it's kind of funny. This is a side note. You guys tell me if this is true or not. When a guy has a girl that is a side chick, I don't know if they're really in love when the girl is a side chick. There's a possibility that that side chick actually envies and even admires his wife. there's a possibility that happens. Okay. And she's perfectly fine with that position. And when I say, admires from the standpoint is how did this woman get this guy? And I envy her the fact that she could have him full time, right? I'm getting a side piece of him. But when a man is banging out your wife, the only way he looks at the husband is with full-fledged contempt. That's it. He's banging out your wife. He's sending her home to you. He looks at you with complete disdain and contempt. That's just part of that's the part of the disrespect factor as well. So I'm just saying, the dynamics in those situations are so different,
But Mr. Payne, I want to real quick. I want to bring up something that we don't talk about enough, and I really felt this when I went through my situation. The thing is that we don't put no accountability to the other person. Yes, I get it. 80% of accountability should be to the married person. But if you remember back in the days, they used to stone to death both people, the adulterer and the adulteress. This motherfucker told me, oh, I knew he was married, but I didn't care. So you see, I told him to take off his wedding ring, and he did. You were nothing but complaints. Because we had a 3-hour conversation. I went to her house because I was going to put that shit in the butt. Okay, I knocked on her door, and we sat at the glass table for 3 hours, and I told her, show me everything you want me to see, tell me everything, and get it out of your system so you can leave me in peace, because I'm gonna go home, pack all his shit, and I'm gonna bring him to you. Okay, because unfortunately you've been sucking and fucking a man that don't have shit. He signed a prenup. The house is mine. The truck is mine. The car is mine. So did you think your 5 kids from 4 different men was going to move into my house?
Oh, Jesus.
Is that what you thought?
So
we don't give enough shame to the side chick. And I've been meaning to do a show about this, but it's still very volatile for me. But there was a video out. Hi, I'm the side chick. I know where you know what I'm saying? We're not allowing accountability or shame to the other person. This is why men don't respect us, because we don't respect each other as women. As soon as a man tells me he's married, or I check his finger, I said, oh, I can't mess with you. But why? You're married. I will never bring upon the pain that I felt to another woman. Okay? Yeah. And if more women thought like that, a man can only go through the door if you open that door.
No doubt.
But some women like the married ones. Some men like the married ones. But we allow it. We allow it to have people. You cannot date a married person. Most people don't leave you for the side chick. All you are is a piece of meat, a cum rag. That's all you are.
So
they're not going to leave.
So this is what I want to say, and I agree 100%. Because the thing about it is, you have to think in the you have to think in the frame of community and society. If that person, if you're dating a married person, I would say you're just as responsible as the person cheating, right? In society, when you say, well, we can't blame the person. We can only blame the person that was married. No. That's not true. That's not true. You know what I mean? When people are married, that means hands off, right? And so you're just as responsible. You're just as guilty. You're just as culpable as the married person. And when we don't hold that person accountable, what we're saying to society is that, oh, it's okay to be hunting married people. And no, that's not the society that we're approving for. And this is why you can sue, like certain places like Tennessee. If somebody sleeps with your wife or husband, you can sue them for damages.
Yeah.
And I bet you, if you start putting people in jail for committing adultery.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's hold off a second. I think the civil suits are the best, but let me ask you, how many states are like that? Tennessee. Do you know how many states are like that?
I know North Carolina may be like that. They don't allow you to get a divorce to after you've been separated for a year to
Okay.
No,
really
no,
see if that's something you want.
no. Like states like Tennessee and Alabama. If, for example, if you were
I see
sleeping with a
bruises
married
up there.
man, they can punish you. They can punish you, the person that's not married, right? They can sue you.
Okay.
They can
Well,
sue you for
listen,
damages.
I agree with you though. So that throws a hole in my theory. What you just said, Grace, but that's cool. I just floated that out there. Women can hold people in contempt too. One of the things that guys who cheat with women, uh, and they don't realize if that woman is broke and she's destitute and she sees this guy who has something, they're not going to let go. So the situation I know about when a lady forgave her husband, I mean, he cheated with the worst kind of woman in terms of she had nothing to lose. So she became a living hell. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
She had absolutely nothing to lose.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened to me. You're absolutely right. I found out that she lost her job because the funny thing is, Mr. Payne, he used to tell me everything about her. I knew everything about her. So when the day that she came up to my job, I said, "Why are you even here?" Oh, that's right. You don't have a job. You got fired because our man picked you up late to go to work. You know what I'm saying? And she got pissed. And she was like, well, and I was working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time because I had too much time on my hands. I was used to working 80 hours a week, and my
Right.
new job was only giving me 40. So I had to do something else. She was like, that's why you work at this sorry ass Dunkin' Donuts. I said, but that's why I have a house, two cars, and money in the bank. And you fucking a married man hoping to hit a meal ticket. Boy, I'm telling you,
How did you have so many encounters with this chick, man? That's so
no, there
weird.
was only two encounters. One at my job. Oh,
Right.
and one at the courthouse. Three.
Okay.
One at my job. That was the first encounter. The second encounter was at the courthouse when we got the restraining order. And this third encounter is when I finally went to her house to put her to sleep, to end this. Because she wasn't giving me peace. The screenshots, the texts, the phone calls, she would not leave me alone. So I finally went to her house and we sat down and we hashed it out. And then that was it. I was done with her.
Okay. So you don't want to really say what the hash out really means, not on this
No,
public.
well, we had the conversation and I called her and told her I was smart, even in my outrage because of my police academy training. I called her that we was on our way because I made my husband tell me where she
Oh,
lived.
he was with you.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I pulled out my piece and I told him I need you to tell me where she take me to her house right now. I swear to God, both of us will go down right now.
Oh,
And he was
gee.
shaking in his pants. He took me to her, and while we were driving, I called her. I said, "Hey, Mom, we're on our way because we're gonna all talk about this." But that phone call was me thinking rationally. The police will see that the call was in the call log and she knew that we was coming, so she could never say that we were the aggressors, that we just popped up on her. And then when I got there, he couldn't handle it. He stayed there maybe 35 seconds because she started telling more story. Oh, did you tell her this? Did you tell her that? Did you tell her? He didn't
Uh,
handle it and he left. But I stayed there and we talked it out, and that was it. And she never bothered me again. And plus, we had the restraining order indefinitely. And even the judge went off on him. He looked at him and said, "Oh, so you do your dirt, and now you're here begging me to give you a restraining order to protect your wife and child because you couldn't keep it in your pants." That's what he told
But
my
see, the,
ex.
one thing. Well, first I want to say sorry for your experience and our pain. 183307. She lists the states that have it. Also, Tennessee
I
has
see.
it as well. Because there was a football player. There was a football player who played for the
Thank you.
Eagles. He slept with a girl in Tennessee, and the dude sued him as well. So I believe Tennessee is also a state. But anyway, but what I want to say is this
Mm.
though. Also, when it comes to cheating in society, we give a pass to women a lot for cheating. Because matter of fact, um, most women who cheat don't most women who cheat
Go
don't
ahead.
even admit that they're cheating. For example, right? If she feels you were neglecting her and she slept with another man because you neglected her, in her mind, that's not cheating. If she can blame any reason, or if she breaks up with you to go sleep with another man, come back to you, that's not cheating. Even though she planned to do that, taking breaks. So society gives a big pass for women for cheating also. Because a lot of times when women cheat, everybody looks at the man and says, "What did you do?"
Yep.
Well,
It's
you know,
always the man. It's always the man.
well, let me tell you that to me that's also connected to no fault divorce. You know, you know, they just get away with murder, and I have something for that a little later. Anyway, Grace, here's a big and $10. This one he got you in there. You know, Grace. I guess it says men should not be going to jail for for getting some sex on the side. Stop it, unless it's bad sex or wasn't worth it. Okay.
Oh, I wasn't gonna go to jail. I just needed to know where she lived, and we was gonna get some straight. You know, you already know me, our pain. Italians, we have sit downs. We talk it out first. But I was not gonna allow her to keep disturbing my peace. You did your dirt. You came to my job. You came to court. Now it's my turn to come to you and put it to sleep.
I hear you. I hear that. You know, I mean, that could have been a very
Yeah, that could
volatile.
have went sideways. You're absolutely right. But I left the weapon in the car. You know what I'm saying? I just came upstairs. I came upstairs to talk. And then she had her 16-year-old daughter on the couch listening to this conversation. Okay? She brought her 16-year-old daughter to my job trying to entice me to start a fight. Then her
Right.
daughter would have jumped in. Now I got assault and battery on a minor. I saw that whole thing and I
Right.
acted right. And that all comes from my training from the police academy, because to the fact that I was taught to stay rational and
Mhm.
under pressure. And thank God it did work out for me. But again, the house got broken into. You know, we
Wow.
had to go get a restraining order.
Was it her or you couldn't prove it?
I mean, we could never prove it, but only two things were missing out of everything that we had in the house: his piece and his wedding ring. You know, and every law enforcement officer that I spoke to, honestly, you want to know what I really, really think that happened? And
Right.
I'll never know. I think he used that money to pay her to get in the deletion. Because why is it that just his wedding ring, which was worth $6,000, and his piece was missing? Our computers were still there. My pieces were there. My jewelry was still there. I mean, it's the only thing that can make sense. God forgive me if I'm wrong, but why would those only two things be missing?
Yeah. Okay. So the piece. So what does that have to do with the?
Hi-
That's the scary part.
His weapon
Yeah.
and
That's,
his
that's
wedding ring.
wow. How does she? But how does somebody find a weapon if they don't know where? I mean, it wasn't a.
That's why I'm saying I think it was a setup. You know,
Okay.
just the sliding glass door was broken, and
Okay.
only those two. So he must have needed money for something, or to hush money or something.
I see what
You
you're
see
saying.
what I'm
Oh
saying? He's
yeah.
not gonna take my stuff. He's not
Okay.
gonna take my stuff to give to her. At least he had enough respect for
Oh,
that.
okay.
But
Yeah.
again, that's all speculation. Every law enforcement officer that I spoke to said that's kind of fishy and sketchy. That all the laptops, TVs, jewelry, everything was still there, but only his weapon and his wedding ring was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. It's an inside job. Anyway.
mm-hmm.
All right. So I got one more video we're going to show. It's not
Okay.
that long, and it's kind of funny because this video had somebody we know that was just here.
Can a man forgive a woman for cheating? You're an idiot and don't know what the hell you're talking about if you're out here simply saying yes or no to this question. Before this question can be answered, first we need to know what cheating is. Cheating is simply any action committed secretly, knowing that your significant other would disapprove. Now I get it. Most people mean having sex with someone else outside the relationship. But even if that is what you mean, that needs to be said because we live in an era where context is very important. So let's rephrase. Can a man forgive a woman for sleeping with another man? When a woman allows a man to enter into her, she is submitting to him. When a man enters into her, he has dominion over her. In the Bible, this is how men claim their wives. A man who forgives his woman for submitting to another man is a cuckold. A man who does not forgive his woman for submitting to other men is a man of standards and self-respect. We live in a day and age where multiple women will flock to you, submit to you, and bear your children, knowing other women are involved. So shame on any man who forgives a woman for sleeping with other men. He is a disgrace to his peers and masculinity. Any man who allows his woman to submit to other men has lost his manhood. Any man who accepts this behavior from women has been feminized.
There you go.
Mm, yeah, that's funny. He was just in our chat.
I
That's
know.
hilarious. I sent him the link. So
Yeah, it was just in the chat.
that's
So that's the
that's
last.
he- that's
Yeah,
heavy, our pain. I mean, that's really telling. But I get a little confused though. I heard what he said, but if you're Christian and you go by the Bible, it does say in Ephesians 4:32, a Christian should always be willing to forgive anyone of any magnitude. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. So are we not supposed to forgive? Are we always going to be perfect?
well, one of the
I
things.
can answer that if you give me
Go
a
ahead,
second.
go ahead, hot sauce, go ahead. I'll take my
Okay.
turn after you. Yeah.
Okay, so when it says that you should forgive as God forgave you, but God divorced Israel for fornication and adultery, right?
Yep, that's like Exodus 2014. I got it here too. Hot sauce. I
So
got it here too.
so when we talk about that, we have to have things in context, right?
I'm gonna say.
So if we supposed to forgive as God forgive, so then if your wife cheated on you, you can divorce because God also never forgave for that
You're
because he
absolutely right.
divorced
And and and
he
I
divorced Israel.
misquoted that. In chapter 5 and 19, Jesus says that divorce is permitted when there has been marital unfaithfulness or
Yes.
adultery. So
Yeah, I was.
you're absolutely right. But isn't it a confusing though?
No,
I'm
no,
confused.
it's not confusing because even when you read these passages, you got to take it in full context, right? Some people say you got to read some things before these passages or after it, and you got to connect some dots. So we just connected the dots. So that one paragraph, you can interpret that as being true, but not for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the Bible it says some things that are actually will be exceptions to that. And as far as what Bruce has said, as far as I'm concerned, you might not want to call it exceptions, but or you might call it band-aids, because God didn't even do it. But what Bruiser was saying about men and many women cleaving to one, submitting to one man, well, you just don't. You could go to Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, because he was a prophet, right? I believe, and he talks about in the coming days how women are going to just look for one man so they could be legitimized because they can't find their own separate husbands. So they'll be willing to share a man who can take care of them. So I mean,
And seven women will cleave to one man and will pay for their own bread just to have his last name. Yeah, that's what Isaiah says.
yeah. So okay, so the point really is, again, you have to take it all in context. But so I mean, that's the thing about the Bible. You can pretty much be the scholar of the whole damn thing. When
I
we
hear
start,
you. And
that's,
and Edward Gilbert made a new good point. He says it's also he said forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay with them. And
No,
and you're
that's true.
but when you read the passage, it says as God and Jesus did, as they did, right? So you should forgive the things as they did, and you shouldn't forgive the things as they
Yes,
did
they
not,
do.
right? As they did.
Right.
So we know that one, the law says that if she sleeps with another man, right, they get stoned. Number two, you can divorce because again, God divorced Israel for worshiping other gods, which is fornication and adultery.
There you go. So I mean, there's just so many, so many ways to look at it because we pretty much had this whole conversation in a secular realm, but there's corollaries in the non-secular world as well. So we could have been all scripture, all Christian based, and had the same conversation. But we just talking about people who may or may not be religious at all. Some of the same rules just naturally apply, if you ask me. I think there's reason. I think there's reasons for men not being so easily able to forgive a woman for cheating on them. Because there's physical and biological reasons for that. There's mental reasons for that. There's a lot of reasons for that. Not just the sexual act itself, because no matter how the feminist movement convinced women that they can screw around like men, it simply is not true.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask something on that, Mr. Payne. The thing is that little girls nowadays are over sexualized. You see what I'm saying? They're exposed to sex at a much earlier age. They're given passes at a much earlier age. We don't shame them anymore. You remember in our time, Mr. Payne, that when a girl used to got pregnant, she used to get shipped out of town, and until she had the baby, she wouldn't come back, or sometimes won't come back at all. And then the grandmother would take the baby, and the mother would never have reins of her own child. So I think that's another thing we're missing. We are more busy teaching our kids about sex than basic life skills on how to cook and clean. They took shop out of school. They took home economics out of school. But of course, they want to have all these sexual situations for our third and fourth graders.
That's the demonic hole, that's going on out there. I would be content with our little girls and boys learning how to read, write, and do arithmetic.
And do cursive. They took cursive out of school.
Just go back to actually teaching them something in school, as opposed to all this other horseshit that's being, forced on them. There's enough stimulus in the world. We don't really need the schools to be, but the schools are really indoctrination camps now. A lot of parents don't realize that. That's why there's more homeschooling and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So that was my last video, but I just think that. So if we had a consensus, let me ask you this, and I'm going to use this word, and I don't like to use it. Do ladies out there in the chat, or do you think it's fair that we're biologically wired differently on this particular topic? Why women might be more prone to forgive a cheating man than a man than a reverse? Does fairness have anything to do with that?
No. I don't think so, because that's just the way God intended to make men and women. What are we going to tell God? It's not fair how you made me the way we are. And I'm glad, and I'm glad that you asked that, because I have something here. It says here, research suggests that women are more likely to forgive infidelity than men, 60% of women versus 38% of men. And these are the reasons why, Mr. Payne. Financially dependent on her partner. Doesn't have nowhere to go or live, believes her partner won't cheat again, doesn't want to waste her time investing in another relationship, and children are involved.
Okay.
See, women are the more emotional and nurturing. No, it's not fair. It's hard, but it's fair. It is what it is. We can't change. Well, they are trying to change the whole biology of men and women. But no, we have to live with it. And we have to either accept it or reject
it. For the men, is there a list for why men will stay in it?
No, I didn't do that. Well, here we go. The top reasons for infidelity with men: self-esteem issues, lack of love in the primary relationship and respect, unhappiness, and sexual dissatisfaction. Those are the reasons why men.
There's nothing in there that says why a man would stay, though.
No, but from talking, I didn't research that, but from talking to men and doing, it's usually because of assets and the children. I have a lot of guy friends that stay in their marriage. They know their wife ain't shit. They don't cook, they don't clean, they don't suck dick, they don't give up the ass, but they stay there because they don't want no other man to raise their children, especially a daughter. and for money. Those are the two main reasons why. Or you're just a simp.
Yeah.
You know.
No, no, I'm with you. Let me just. I'm gonna go on mute for. Keep going, hot
Hello.
sauce. You got something to add? Go ahead.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
hot
yeah.
sauce.
So, reason why, because you said why a man shouldn't accept her back, and we're wired differently. Well, a lot of it's also about paternity, right? If your wife is out here, selling that monkey, when she get pregnant, you don't know who the father is, right? So a lot of it is about paternity. Who really is the father, right? We know that 30+% of men who get tested find out that the children that they're raising aren't theirs, right? So that's one reason why men don't can't forgive. And then of course, what I said earlier, right? It's also about standards and stuff like that. Even if you do accept her, 8 times out of 10, she's still going to divorce you because women cannot stand weak men, and you accepting her back shows that you're a weak man because you're compromising your standards, right? Men and women look at forgiveness in very different ways. And then also,
Hmm.
there are many reasons why men might stay with his wife after she has been unfaithful. This is according to the marriagehelper.com.
Okay.
Number
Yeah, I was
one
looking
is
it up
love.
myself. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
number one is love. Number two is shared experience. Number three is fear of divorce. Number four is fear of hurting his wife. I don't understand that one, but that's number five. Number six is ego. Number
Eat.
seven, blaming the other man. Number eight, recognizing his role. He might recognize his own role in infidelity and that cheating was not based on spite and anger. And see, that's the biggest problem, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is why I say that women cheat more than men. Because this, right? Women, if women feel that the man pushed them to cheat, she will tell you, I didn't cheat. It was his fault. Right? Because
Damn.
it's like 26% of women said they cheat, 24% of, no, 26% of men said they cheat, 24% of women say they cheat. And the reason why that study is wrong is because most women will not look at cheating if they feel it was the man's fault. They will say, no, I didn't cheat.
So it was the man. It was your husband's fault that you fell up on top of a new dick and spinned
A
around
lot
on
of
it.
women, a lot of women will
That's
say that.
true.
So that's why
I
when
mean,
you ask if they cheat, they will say no. They will say it's his fault. Oh, he was abusive. Oh, he neglected me in time.
He was
it's,
Oh,
never home. He worked too much.
well,
right.
but listen, we
So
don't
in
have to
their mind,
go.
they said they never cheated.
We don't really have to go any further than these YouTube streets or TikTok. When they have all those like shade room conversations, and when women talk
Uh-huh.
Right.
about cheating, they sit down and just said what they just said it. Now you've never hear a woman say, you know what, I just wanted to get a nut off with another man. It's always, if they were married, they always have some way of putting it back on the man.
Yeah,
You
women
know,
cheat way more
yeah,
than men.
yeah.
Way.
We talked about that with Grace. I said, well, the treatment begins because they entertain men, even if they don't get to the sexual part. That's what Bruiser was talking about. We got to put the layers to it, right? So if you have
Right.
if your girl has a pen pal and you don't know about it, they're having intimate conversations,
Well, I mean
right?
that whole work husband bullshit.
And the work
It's like
husband, and they really bullshit. The work, your woman go to work, she got a work husband.
right.
For if your woman actually stays a lot in a job for years and years and years, there are some they get favorites. Just like if you there, you just gotta be disciplined not to go across the line. People go to lunch together, people see each other every day, blah blah blah. It's whether you start to cultivate a relationship that can get you in trouble, and it happens all too often. You
Yeah,
know,
so that's what I'm saying. Like every level, whether it's emotional, whether
man.
it's physical, every level, women cheat way more than men. Because also women have more access to sex than men.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not it's by a lot. I mean, we have this thing like women are sugar and spice and everything nice, but if we truly examine everything, you would be shocked. You would be shocked.
Oh no, you know what? I think less and less people will be shocked. I think everybody's starting to understand Not everybody, but I think the way women have behaved over the last, since their freedom days, and since feminism has taken hold, where empowerment to women means sexual freedom. I wouldn't be shocked at anything, right? It's the woman who is still somewhat chaste, who's still somewhat reserved, that is kind of the exception these days. But if you could find one, they stand out like a sore thumb, or sweet thumb, But the rest, I mean, women in general almost define themselves as how many people are in their rotation, whether it's a random male orbiter that they're giving sex to, or the men that they're trying to, just getting a little bit of everything from them. The maintenance man, the guy, the maintenance man, or the guy who can solve their problems, or the guy who's just a complete simp, knowing that, he's waiting for her to, give him some. And I mean, they just take advantage of it. It's a power trip, right? And it's unleashed, right? Women understand that their sexuality is theirs. The only time they don't take agency of it or accountability of it is when they get in trouble. Then it's always the man's fault. But that's just, I think it's part of the nature of things. I really do.
You're right.
For men, right? The truth of the matter is not an excuse. The way we're wired is, if you're a healthy man, you want sex from women, right? It has nothing to do with whether you're a good man, bad man, Indian chief or carpet maker. But if you approach a woman to talk to her, at some point, you want to bang around. Right? There's a guy who might want to marry her first, or want to have a relationship, or whatever. But it always leads to you getting her on her back at some point. And that's the way it is. We don't need to apologize for that or make it a bad thing. It's how your character plays into how your how you treat yourself sexually. And that's it. Everything else is nature. I mean, I think one of the things, and I'm gonna land it here. I think one of the things about humans, since we have cognitive abilities, we kind of think that we're above the laws of nature. We really aren't. We have some natural inclinations. And in the absence of culture, in the absence of shame, in the absence of social governors that control your actions, we're just moving on biology. If I'm in a proximity to women, or women are in a proximity to men, somebody's having sex.
But you see, Mr. Payne, some women hear you say that, and they're going to say, "Oh, you're just using that as an excuse." There's no excuse. That's the biology of men. It's in our nature.
It could be consensual. Let's forget about the adultery part. I mean, just in general, it's just in general. When you put men and women together, we be stroking and shit, man. Listen, when you put women in private, and when you put women as prison guards in prisons, right? They're banging out those goddamn inmates. They're bringing them shit. They're doing all that stuff. Some of those guys are buff, right? They might be criminals, they buff, man. They think those guards are banging them out 2 at a time. They're risking their freedom and everything. And then when you put men in female prisons, they're extorting those women for sex all the time. You want some extra rations? You want some extra you want more canteen privileges? You want this? You want clean socks? You want that extra tampon?
You want some honey buns?
Yeah. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing. You can't put, it's just crazy, right? And the fact is, we use this DEI and all this bullshit like we're all equivalent, and we put the people in proximity, and we think that we could just say, if you break the law, you're going to go to jail. Since when breaking the law is going to stop people from banging each other? It doesn't, because nature takes over. You can't really, that's why segregation was such a big thing to white men back in the day, because they knew integration means that at some point, the little white girl's going to give that box up to some big black stud.
And once you go black, you never go back.
Whether you go back or not,
Hallelujah, Jesus.
That's the bottom line. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's what the big thing is segregation. They wanted to keep the white girls away from the niggers, man. That's one big thing of it. That's why You can't put women. I don't give a shit what you are. The world is smaller, and we're all stroking each other. That's why nationalities, religion, all that stuff is starting to become one big ball.
And you're
Yeah.
so right, Mr. Payne, because that was one of her texts to me. She was like, "Why are you so upset that he's cheating? Everybody's doing it." I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm telling. I should make a more. I should call Tyler Perry and write and write a script, because this shit was straight out of a movie script. You know, the fact that we're sitting right across each other at the courthouse because she was late. And I
Uh-huh.
teased her. I said, "Babe, you want to give her a ride home? Because you know she ain't got a car. She'll have to take the bus." I mean, I had to laugh to keep from crying. You know what? Then sometimes we would see her at the bus stop while we in the car together. I said, "You want to pull over and give your boo a ride home?" You know, I guess that was my way of punishing him.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
because you cheated with somebody so close to the house that we could easily see her. You know what I'm saying? It's like, really, bro? It's like, damn. Now, if she would have pulled up at the Dunkin' Donuts in a 747 700 series BMW, I would have been like, okay, maybe we could do something here. But, you know, it didn't happen. All I know is that it made me a stronger woman. I went through hell and back, but everything happens for a reason. You know, and that's going to be something that him and her are going to have to deal with on Judgment Day. And that's it. You know, me and him are still cool. We talk. We still have to politic because we share a son. I mean, not as much now because he's 18.
Right.
But the fact that is, you know, it happened. It is what it is.
All right. All right. So, and anything else? How you wanna? You got anything
Hot
else?
sauce, you got anything else? You still there? Oh, I guess he left. No, if you, are we ready to close out, Mr. Payne?
Yeah. Anybody in the
Th-
chat room for the chat, right? Well, participating. There's a lot of conversation in the chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation. You know, Travel One is typing her fingers off. I got to read them later because I'm too busy here hosting with you. But I do want to say, Mr. Payne, thank you for having me on and allowing me to even this was your topic, but you allow me to run it through my channel, and we had a good conversation. You kind of picked the perfect person because of the experience that I went through. I know you wanted more women perspectives, but women ain't gonna come up here and talk about their messy behavior.
Well, it
You
didn't have to
know,
be personal, but they could, their opinion would be good. It's a Travel One. Look at this.
why don't these old black men understand that they are not reaching the youth with this dry, false teaching? Black men just love hearing themselves and talk and do nothing. That's what the black women bring to him. A plate. Get out of here. I mean, she is going off. She is going off.
Listen, you know what? The fact that the funny thing about it is that she said old, right? So listen, it's because that's why I know so much. That's why I've been around. Anyway, but there's not one size fits all. But Travel One is always she always got something to say. I guess it's a lady, right? Travel One's a lady.
Yeah, yeah, she's a black woman. Yes, she is.
Right? Oh boy, she needs somebody to come visit and say hello. Hey, Travel One, let's get it on or something. Ease that tension and shit. That's what she needs.
Man, but BMU, why are you still here? He said, pull up his comment. He said, Travel One needs some dick.
Yeah, so we agree on BMU. There you go.
You need to go lay it down, BMU, and take care of the wife and get out of here.
Well, you back pretty fast though, BMU, kind of.
He got you on he got you on that one, BMU. You eat. She making you your sandwich?
That's funny.
That was good, Payne. That was good. That was good.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of quick. And anyway, everybody, thanks to the chat. Hey, Grace, You got anything else? Last
No,
one?
that's it. All I'm saying is if you're not ready to be faithful, just don't be in a committed relationship. So families don't get broken up, children don't get traumatized, and you have no drama in your life because you know that it can turn south. People have been to jail, people have been deleted, kids have been put in foster care. It's just not worth it, people, for that nut. If you're not happy with the one you're with, break up and leave and then move on.
All right, so Grace, thanks you. I'm glad we had this collab. That's our second one. It was good that you let me spend this time because I sent you that email. I'm glad
Absolutely.
you liked the topic. So that's pretty good. So I think everybody.
It's an honor, Mr. Payne. Embrace the pain.
Yeah, embrace the pain. And everybody, with that, we're gonna have good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, guys.
Later.
It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Need a yeehaw, you know how here for one night and we just wanna party. In a fast car, a Ferrari. It's a push start, I don't need a car key. Slide on Broadway, and it's gnarly. On a late night, but I'm not tardy. Right on time for the parties and Barbies. Strolling with a chunk of green like a golf swing. Hey, 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 hey. Bottles on ice, mess around these skates. Hey, hey, hey. If I gotta say it twice, then I got nothing to say. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Come and kiss me up, it's going down like a train with no brakes. I'm not slowing down. See a